We're not gonna hold you long today, but we have to give the saints of the church and the leaders this word, and that word is follow him with faith. And we're coming out of the book of Matthew chapter 8 verse 19 and 20, and it reads, and a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus said unto him,
Out This Manda is the second episode of Impress Me. If you watched or listened to episode 1, you would know that Stevian led Bebe on. But for what, you may ask? Well, we know that Bebe opened herself up easily to Stevian, and that leads us to know something is up with her that will be revealed in episode 2 or 3. Since this episode is called The Secret Promise, let's ask ourselves, what is this promise that Stevian says he will keep for Bebe? Why does Stevian have to keep it? Find out what happens before and after Stevian says he will keep Bebe's secret promise on episode 2.
Kings and Queens, clash your sword. Yeah, big baby. You kings and queens already know.
100 kings and 100
We
queens.
Gotcha. All right. On the screen, you see a SS4 form, which I do not like using when it comes down to getting a 9(8) trust, or it's called a foreign grantor trust, because you can have a domestic grantor trust as well, but you don't want that, because there's different things that you're subject to when you get a domestic trust, and they don't expect you to operate the same way as a foreign grantor's trust. Now, when it comes down to the foreign grantor's trust, you go over to 26 USC 1445, 26 USC 1446, and it deals with import-export. And that is a different type of banking, okay? And you need to go watch my previous videos on the 26 USC 1445 or the 8822A, 82A, is it 8288? 8288A. Matter of fact, let's go look at this right now, because I always get those two mixed up, and they always play around with those numbers anyway. So, yeah, 8288, right? 8288, 8288A, 8288B, okay? So when you start going into the instruments being shipped to you while you're on native land, then the corporation is foreign to you and you're foreign to that corporation. Go watch my video on, or order it, because it's not available on YouTube anymore. It's called You Are Not a U.S. National. So now y'all see why you don't want to be a U.S. national, because you cannot say that you're foreign. If you're a U.S. national, I told y'all about that shun at the end, the T-I-O-N, okay, corporation, nation. So, but we're redoing this video here because apparently there was some haters, and I didn't even know it was down. I'm going to reach out to YouTube, the people at YouTube, and find out what the hell happened to my goddamn video. But it's time that I update it anyway. If you find it, it's called King Stevian 98 number. Get your 98 number. There's a video where it has a blue screen, blue background screen, and I'm talking to the representative live on the call. Okay? But since I done been through this a million times, there were some people that were trying to say, oh, he did it wrong. Let me tell you something. I didn't have my 98 since then. I have gotten millions of credits on that 98 that's ready to be used in Kenya. So how in the hell can I have it wrong? I'm telling y'all how to do this, okay? And I'm coming back to make it very clear to the haters and to the newbies this is how this is done. Okay? Now, number one on the SS4 form, this is just a guide. This is just a template, and this is what the IRS agent said to me over the phone. It's used as a template. Okay? This is not the actual form. There is no form for a 9(8) trust, as you will see as we go down. Now, one, legal name of entity. It says, our individual for whom the EIN is being requested. Now, let me tell you something. If you are a third-party withholder, intermediary, are you a third-party person doing it on behalf of the straw man, on behalf of the beneficiary, then you would let them know that you are a intermediary calling on behalf of that person. Okay? And you will put their legal name in box 1 or line 1. Now, line 2 would be the same as line 1. That's why it says if different from name on line 1. Okay? It's no different. It's the same. So you just bring that down. Box 3 or line 3. What is the position? It is the trustee. You don't want to be an executor. The executor is only when you're doing an estate. The administrator is like your courts. It's a third party. It's the one that assigns an intermediary to rule over the estate, bankruptcy estate, or trust. It's one that goes by the court ruling when there is no will in place. Okay? So that's what your administrator is. That's what the United States is over all the estates. And yes, a trust deals with an estate. You should have your estate before you get a trust. Never go get a trust without having your estate first. The purpose of a trust is that you've been trusted to handle the real estate or the assets of the grantor who passed away. In this case, your straw man passed away. Okay? The straw man is dead. It already was dead anyway. Okay? But once you separate yourself, now you can do the assigning. This is why I tell y'all do the precept 1, precept 2, precept 3, and that helps you with the separation to begin with. That's not the full separation. There's other things that need to be done during the 7 steps to fully separate you from the United States corporation and from you being dead. Okay? Now, trustee, okay? Do not put care of here, okay? But the trustee will be your, of course, your king name. Let me put a king or queen name. Let me put this here while I'm here. Put the semicolon there, if I can put it. Nope. Oops. I don't think they even let me put it. Let's see. Can I put it? It won't let me do it. So, you don't put the word, you can put the word trustee if you want to. Hold on, let me see. Can I back up a bit? There we go. Now, this is just the position, because they're going to ask you what's the position. You're the trustee. It's your king or queen name. Let me tell you how to do that. Take your first name, spell it backwards. It's king or the queen first. First name spelled backwards. If your name is Josh, it'll be, what would Josh be? Got to write it down for myself. Hasaj. That's what it'd be. King Hasaj. Then you would write of the. Then the last name you were born with. Not no married name, not no Moorish name, not no name somebody gave you. The name you were born with, because that is the estate you're coming back to take over. I don't know why people want to change their names and then try to go back, and most of them that change their name, they're running after fiat anyway. The goal here is to take care of the estate. The estate is what the United States held when they took your land. They took the land from the natives of the land, and they put it in trust. That's why the United States have that many trusts. They have so many damn trusts. It's ridiculous. They have a code on that. I got a video showing all these different trusts. But you can type it in on Google and type in the different trusts of the United States and type in CFR code or USC code, and it should come up. All right? You have to take over the estate that they stole from you. And 9 times out of 10, whatever your last name is what your dad or your mom had. And then it's going into taking over their estate. Now, when it comes to your mother and father, both of them have an estate. Okay? But you're mixed with your mom and dad, but you would still run both of their estates. There are certain things you would have to do for the other, whatever last name you didn't put, because we're supposed to have it just like certain countries. We're supposed to have 2 last names. If your mom's name was Jackie Johnson and your dad's name was Joe Thompson, it would be, your name is Ricky, it would be Ricky Johnson Thompson. Or Ricky, if his middle name was Al Jarreau, Ricky Al Jarreau Johnson Thompson. Okay, that's how it would be. That's how it's supposed to be. There's plenty of countries that do this. So I know exactly what I'm damn talking about here. Because you're supposed to run both estates. If you don't take over the other estate, it becomes abandoned. This is the purpose of us getting the estate number first. Go watch my video, King Stevian Estate Number. And that'll show you exactly how to do it. Okay? So this is how you do it of the last name estate. Many ask me, why are you using a king or queen name? Because that's what we were on this land before the colonizers came over and took it over. Okay? Now some people say, oh, everybody wasn't a king or queen. That is a lie. And even if we wasn't king or queens, that's what they labeled us as when they came over here. Look up Black's Law Dictionary, edition 3, and look up the definition of registration. It said it is a king's decree. You might say, king, well, what about the queen? Well, without a king, she can't be a queen. She's not just going to be a queen. Now, she can be passed down from a mother to be the queen to take over. But that's what we are. You got some people saying, oh, the word queen, it means a dyke or something that's gay. No, it isn't. That definition came way down the line after the word was established. As a matter of fact, king or queen is called Mfalme in Kenya. And they've been using that. It's just a translation of the Mfalme. Okay? So know your history, your true history or herstory on these words. People always talk from an English perspective or a British perspective, but haven't traveled the entire world to know how you say king or queen in that foreign language. It ain't king or queen in those countries. It just was Mfalme. And for queen, it was something different, similar to Mfalme. Okay? So don't let people try to tell you certain things, and all they're doing is looking at one direction. All right? So, 4A. This is your physical address. Do not use a P.O. box. Even though they say P.O. box, when we spoke to the IRS on the phone, they said you can't use a P.O. box. Okay? The reason why you don't want a P.O. box is because this will be the king or queen's physical address. The king or queen is replacing the straw man at that address. So if they ever write the straw man again to that physical address in the United States corporation, then now the king or queen can strike them. What I mean by that is fine them for a copyright violation, bringing it into the public. Once it goes through the USPS mail, it is now public. And the king or queen's job is to protect the name of what? The straw man. So when the grantor established this trust, it trusted the fiduciary to protect the bloodline and to protect his or her name. So make sure it is a physical address. Now, we go over to 5A. Street address is different if it's different. Okay? Now, this is the physical address of the actual trust. Let me put that there. Foreign trust address. So y'all can see that with your own eyes. Because they're going to ask, where is it established at? They might not ask for the address, but on some calls with certain beings, they did ask for the address in the foreign country. Okay? And that's when you give it to them. But most likely, they will only ask for the country. Okay? Now, I know in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, you would have Nairobi County. So if you have a county, put the county if one exists. Because certain countries don't have counties. Put county if it exists. Make sure I spell that right. Right? They might not ask you for that. Now, if you're faxing this document, so sometimes they might not be able to give it to you over the phone. They say, can you fax it over? And this is the form that they would ask for. Okay? Some of you can create your own document after this template. So that way you can just fax it over. And what you would do, you would put in lieu of SS4 form. That's according to the IRS code. You can redo any of their forms. As long as you put at the top in lieu of. And certain things, the main things that you feel like are required on that new form you make. Okay? Now, we go down. The next thing they're going to ask for, they ask for the name of the responsible party. We're on 7A. We just left 6. 7A is the king or queen name. First name, you got king or queen first. Then the first name spelled backwards. Then you put of the last name of state. The last name which you were birthed with, born with. Okay? 7B, you do not have a social. If you say you have a social, you just admitted that you are a citizen. I talked with some beings and they said, oh, I don't remember giving it to them. You should remember. You should know. Whoever told you to go give a damn social, something wrong with you. That means your social is not foreign. I mean, your 9-8 is not foreign. They listen, the IRS make notes about y'all. How in the hell, first of all, you're going to give the IRS agent a social if you're the trustee in the first place? Okay? They're asking, do you have a social? No. The king or queen does not have a social at all. Now, if they ask, are you doing this for someone else and you're doing it for a third party, if you was to give them that, then they'll know that this trust was established on behalf of that domestic account, which is a bank account. The social is a bank account. We spoke with FinCEN, we spoke with the Treasury, and yes, it is. That's why when you do the accepted for value, which is now accepted for credit because they were doing it wrong, that's why you would put the social as an exemption account. with the Social Security Administration or the Treasury, I meant to say, does not tax you anyway. Okay? Now, sometimes when the IRS cut the check, if your status ain't corrected, like they did Mr. Gold and Silver, they did take out taxes. Okay? But he didn't do it with a 9-8. He did it through a regular trust. Right? Now, we're going to go to 8A. Is this application for a limited liability company? The answer is no. 8B is non-applicable. Okay? So, answer on 8C is no. We go down to 9A. 9A, you're going to check the box that says other, and you're just going to put grantor trust, not foreign grantor trust. Common sense tells you that they already know it's foreign because you gave them the country. Okay? That automatically makes it foreign. When you look at the 1041, it clearly states grantor trust, grantor type trust. It don't say foreign grantor trust because I told you you can have a domestic grantor trust. Now, that's the only thing you're going to check on that. We're going to go over to 9B. If corporation, name, the state, or foreign country, if applicable. Non-applicable. Okay? But the reason I put foreign country right here, that goes for your 9-8 number trust up here. So you'll know. Okay? But it does not apply to 9B. We're not filling this out because of 9B. Okay? We're filling this out because we're trying to get the grantor trust, and we just want them to know. And the reason why you put your country here so you remember your country. Now, when it comes down to your country, make sure you go to Facebook or some social network, and you're going to, what you're going to do is you're going to go in there, and you're going to speak with a pastor, and you're going to let them know, hey, I'm establishing a trust in your country, and I need a co-trustee. Okay? And you let them know that what you're going to be doing is you're going to support their church. You're going to build churches. Okay? Based on your spirituality. Okay? And orphanages and a foundation. Foundations in that whole country. If you choose in Africa, you would do it all over Africa. Now, this is real. This is not fake. Some of you out there are doing this and just putting down an address or putting a foreign address. That is called fraud. This is real. This is not fake. You're going to have your WIFIT in the United States. That's a WIFIT trust. That's a Wiley Hill Fixed Investment Trust. WHFIT. That is the investment arm of the 9-8. It's a spinoff of the 9-8, but domestically in the United States. And if you watch my video on how to make your WIFIT foreign, just type in King Stevian, how to make your WIFIT foreign. It'll show you how to make your WIFIT foreign. Okay? Because once you get it, they're using your social. But you want to detach that and make the whole thing foreign. All right? Now, on 10, it says reason for applying. Started new type of business. So it ain't a business, it's really a trust, and you put grantor trust. When you first call, you're calling them and telling them, hey, I'm calling to get a EAN for a grantor trust for my country. If it's Kenya, say Kenya. Okay? Now, don't forget, reach out to the people in that country you want your trust in and make sure it matches where you are getting your birth certificates authenticated at. Now, you don't authenticate a live birth, you authenticate the birth certificate. Now, wherever your birth certificate is authenticated at, that is where those funds, when you settle the birth certificate, will go. It'll go into 9-8. That 9-8 is a bank account number, an account number with the United States Treasury. They are our bank, and so that those funds will be transferred in that 9/8 for release to that country, wherever you have that bank account at. Okay. Now, you also check banking purpose. Okay. If they go deep and ask, what are you doing? You let them know you're settling debt. You'll be dealing with import-export. Okay? Plain and simple. Now, that's 10. We go to 11. Date business started. That's up to you. If you started it last year, you put last year. You want it to let them know you already been operating it, and that you're doing business with the United States, okay, which you will be, United States Treasury, if they want to know. We're now getting ready to do paperwork over there, so we need this number, okay? 12, closing month is always December. I learned this in accounting. Now, if you close your books out October, that's up to you. That means you'll December. That's the end of the year, December 31st. Okay, now 13. This is the mistake that everyone makes when it comes down to getting an estate number or a trust. They never put that they have an employee. How in the hell you have a trustee but don't have an employee? Are they working for free? Heck no, they're not. So what you're going to put is one other. Not agricultural, not household. Put it under the other slot. Now over here it says, if you expect your employee tax liability to be less than $1,000 or less in the calendar year, the first year, yes. You don't want to try to overpay yourself the first year at all. And want to file Form 944 annually instead of 941, which is quarterly, check here. So you're going to check that box. You don't want to have to keep coming every quarter doing this when you're trying to handle the trust and the estate. It takes a lot off you when you have to do more paperwork. So that was 14. Make sure that box is checked. 15. First date wages or annuities were paid. That was nothing never paid. But if they ask when they're going to be paid, it'll be 12/1, 2025 or 2026 or 2027. Whatever year that you're in when you get this 9/8. Okay? So 16, you're going to check finance and insurance. 17, they might not ask for this, but you always do because it's for banking purposes. It can also be real estate. But the WIFID handles real estate. Okay? And even though they have you labeled as real estate, you could. But again, they're not going to ask you this anyway. If they happen to do so, you tell them both. Okay, 17. Indicate principal line of merchandise sold, specific construction work done, products produced, or services provided. Trust or banking purposes. Okay? For trust and banking purposes. Excuse me. It's a trust for banking purposes. But put trust and banking. Even though a trust is a bank, sometimes you got to break stuff down and be very specific. If they ask which one, it'll be banking. And they might, sometimes they just try to question you to see if you know what you're doing. Banking. We're dealing with taxes. We're dealing with withholding of taxes. Now, if you don't have your fins and gens number, type in King Stevian fins and gens number, and it'll show y'all how to get your fins and gens number. But you need to make sure that you use Microsoft Edge, and you also need to make sure you have a website in your all caps name. Okay? First, middle, last. That's the name of the website. So that way you prove that that straw man name is a business. And that is in the trust. A lot of you ask, how do I put stuff in the trust? It ain't a bank account. It's something that you're entrusted with. So the Foreign Grantors Trust hires the trustee to take care of the things of the estate that belongs to the estate. Okay? Now, the trust is managing that and protecting that. It's the protector. That's what's meant by it's in trust. You don't go get a bank account or I'm putting my birth certificate in there. You don't need to protect that. You need to settle that. But you need to take it from them and do it with a 1099-A. If you got our birth certificate course, you can order that. The birth certificate course is $125, and you can pay that through PayPal, paypal.me/STT Estate Trust. Make sure your address is correct. Make sure your name is in the note section along with your phone number so I can give you a call and make sure your information is correct, see what you're trying to do, and I'll mail that USB drive out. And remember that USB drive is valued, I think it's at $1 billion now. So you got a value to settle your debts. Okay? So if your birth certificate, you're going to claim it at $1 billion, then you will use that deed that you get in the mail to settle that debt on that birth certificate. And you got to go watch my video exactly on how to do that or have that course mailed to you. All right, so we're on number 18, just left number 17. It says, have the applicant entity shown on line 1 ever applied for and received an EIN? Answer is no. Okay? Because if you got something else in the United States, they're going to be like, well, I thought you was from Kenya. I thought you was from Zimbabwe. This is how they trap you up. So say no. Now, third-party designee. This is what I meant by if you're a third-party designee, you will put this here as pretty much intermediary. But you're not the intermediary, really. You are the one assigned by the grantor to run the trust. You're still kind of a third party, but not one to get the EIN. Okay? You're doing it yourself. Okay? It really is supposed to be the grantor doing this. Okay? But if you give them your physical address with that name, they'll be like, oh, wait, look. And they did it plenty of times with the IRS. They look it up. Oh, it shows you got a EIN and a social. We can't give it to you. I'm telling you from the experience of all these kings and queens that done this. So it's the king or queen name. You print down here. Now, this is only if it's fax, because they might say, hey, we can't do it over the phone. We need you to fax this to us. And this is the way this form would be filled out. Okay? And then you put your phone number over there for them to get in contact with you, and the fax number you are faxing from. Okay, so we're going to put this here. Fax number you are faxing from. Oops, put 3. I don't know why I did that. I knew that's what it was. And that's it. That is how you do the 9-8 trust is what y'all call it, but it's a grantor trust, which is foreign. Okay? So, if you use this information to get free, do not blame me. Blame the L, the O, the R, the D. Won't he do it? Oh yes, he'll do it. So what you need to do is get this knowledge and start to pursue it. I'm King Stevian, representing the 100 Kings and the 100 Queens. I am out. Love you all. Peace.